Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Ed here from Faster Racing, and in this video I'll be showing you what the fastest classic cars are in the new F1 2020 game. Last video we looked at the 2020 Formula 1 cars, and I've now gone and picked out the list of classic cars which some people don't really know. I've seen many players pick the wrong classic cars for weekly events and are much slower than the other players in the correct cars. So the way I've done this is similar to the last video. I did 3 race pace laps at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya and took an average lap time, which is a good way of finding out which car is best. The only thing that's really changed are the cars, in my opinion. Some of the older ones are much harder to drive than the current cars, and some of them are much easier. I also have 20 cars to test instead of the 10 from the last time, so it will be a longer video. I can't be completely accurate as it does depend on play style, and I also use a wheel, so I really don't know what the order would be on a controller. The best thing to counter this would be to practice with each car like I've done and find out what is best for you. But if you don't have much time or don't know where to start, this is the perfect video for you. So the 20 cars that we will be testing today are the McLaren MP444 from 1988, the Ferrari F190 and the McLaren MP4/5B from 1990, which were DLC in the last game, the McLaren MP4/6 and the Jordan 191 from 1991, the Williams FW14B from 1992, the Benetton B195 from 1994 and the Benetton 195 from 1995, the Williams FW18 from 1996, the McLaren MP413 from 1998, the Ferrari F1 2000 from 2000, the Williams FW25 from 2003, the Ferrari F2004 from 2004, the Renault R26 from 2006, the Ferrari F2007 from 2007, the McLaren MP423 for 2008, the Brawn GP BGP001 from 2009, and the Ferrari F10, McLaren MP425 and the Red Bull Racing RB6 from 2010. Just note that the Jordan, Benettons and the 2000 Ferrari are only available if you have the Deluxe Schumacher edition. So now, let's see which of the classic cars in F1 2020 is the fastest. So starting off with the slowest car, the McLaren MP444, which won the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in 1988, driven by Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. It took 15 wins, 15 pole positions and 10 fastest laps out of 16 races. This amazing car is at the back because of its age, and it has many outdated features like a manual 6-speed gearbox. It also has a Honda V6 engine. The average lap time was a 1 minute 32.465. Moving on to the 19th fastest car, we jump 2 years to the Ferrari F190, which came second in the Constructors' Championship in 1990 with 6 wins, 3 pole positions and 5 fastest laps out of 16 races. Its drivers were Nigel Mansell and Alain Prost, coming second and third in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Ferrari V12 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox, which was very advanced technology at the time. However, the car is quite slow in the game with an average lap time of 1 minute 31.178, which is 1¼ seconds faster than the MP44. The 18th fastest car is the Jordan 191, which on paper doesn't look like a good car, with only 1 fastest lap in 1991 and no wins or pole positions. However, it is still a very famous car, as it is the first car that Michael Schumacher raced, making his debut at the Belgian Grand Prix, qualifying 7th and moving up to 2nd before the clutch failed. It is also considered to be the best looking F1 car of all time. It has a Ford V8 engine with a 6-speed manual gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 31.125, 5/100ths of a second faster than the F190. The 17th fastest car is the McLaren MP4/5B, which won the Constructors' Championships in 1990 with 6 wins, 12 pole positions and 5 fastest laps out of 16 races. Its drivers were Ayrton Senna and Gerhard Berger, who finished 1st and 4th in the drivers' standings respectively. The 5B was the successor of the MP45, which had similar success in 1989. It has a Honda V10 engine with a 6-speed manual gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 30.943, nearly 0.2 of a second faster than the 191. The 16th fastest car is the McLaren MP4/6, which won the Constructors' Championship in 1991 with 8 wins, 10 pole positions and 5 fastest laps out of 18 races. Its drivers were Ayrton Senna and Gerhard Berger, who finished 1st and 4th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Honda V12 engine with a 6-speed manual gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 30.767, nearly 0.2 faster than the 1 year earlier version, the MP45B. The 15th fastest car is the Benetton B195, which won the Constructors' Championship in 1995 with 11 wins, 4 pole positions and 8 fastest laps out of 17 races. Its drivers were Michael Schumacher and Johnny Herbert, who finished 1st and 4th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Renault V10 engine with a 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 29.082, over 1.5 seconds faster than the MP4 S6. For the 14th fastest car, we go back 1 year to the Benetton B194, which came second in the Constructors' Championship in 1994 with 8 wins, 6 pole positions and 8 fastest laps out of 16 races. Its main drivers were Michael Schumacher and Jos Verstappen, who finished 1st and 10th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Ford V8 engine with a 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 29.035, which is almost 0.05 of a second faster than the successor, the B195. These cars have very similar pace and feel, so I feel it comes down to personal preference here. The 13th fastest car is the Williams FW18, which won the Constructors' Championship in 1996 with 12 wins, 12 pole positions and 11 fastest laps in 16 races, making it one of the most successful cars of the 90s. Its drivers were Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve, who finished 1st and 2nd in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Renault V10 engine with a 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 29.016, which is almost 0.02 of a second faster than the B194, putting it pretty much level with the Benettons. For the 12th fastest car, we go surprisingly 4 years back to the Williams FW14B, which won the Constructors' Championship in 1992 with 10 wins, 15 pole positions and 11 fastest laps in 16 races. Its drivers were Nigel Mansell and Riccardo Patrese, who finished 1st and 2nd in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Renault V10 engine with a 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 28.465, which is over half a second faster than the FW18. This is very interesting as it is much faster than the other much later cars. The 11th fastest car is the McLaren MP423, which won the Constructors' Championship in 1998 with 9 wins, 12 pole positions and 9 fastest laps in 16 races. Its drivers were Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard, who finished 1st and 3rd in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Mercedes-Benz V10 engine with a 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 28.150, which is nearly 0.3 quicker than the FW14B, and this makes it the fastest car from the 90s. The 10th fastest car is the Ferrari F1 2000, which won the Constructors' Championship in 2000 with 10 wins, 10 pole positions and 5 fastest laps in 17 races, beginning the period of Ferrari dominance until 2004. Its drivers were Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, who finished 1st and 4th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Ferrari V10 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 24.378, which is over 3.5 seconds faster than the MP413. For the 9th fastest car, we jump 6 years forward to the Renault R26, which won the Constructors' Championship in 2006 with 8 wins, 7 pole positions and 5 fastest laps in 18 races. The Renault R26 used a tuned mass damper, which essentially kept it stable over the curbs, which increased aerodynamic efficiency. I felt in my testing this feature had carried over, as it is better on the curbs than most of the other cars. Its drivers were Fernando Alonso and Giancarlo Fisichella, who finished 1st and 4th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Renault V8 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 22.316, which is almost 2 seconds faster than the F1 2000. The 8th fastest car is the McLaren MP423, which finished 2nd in the Constructors' standings in 2008 with 6 wins, 8 pole positions and 3 fastest laps in 18 races. Its drivers were Lewis Hamilton and Heikki Kovalainen, who finished 1st and 7th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Mercedes-Benz V8 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 22.316, which is almost 0.07 of a second faster than the R26. The 7th fastest car is the Ferrari F2007, which won the Constructors' Championship in 2007 with 9 wins, 9 pole positions and 12 fastest laps in 17 races. Its drivers were Kimi Räikkönen and Felipe Massa, who finished 1st and 4th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Ferrari V8 engine with a 7-speed transverse quick-shift gearbox. The average lap time was 1 minute 22.277, which is 0.04 of a second faster than the MP423. For the 6th fastest car, we go back 4 years to the Williams FW25, which finished second in the Constructors' Championship in 2003, with 4 wins, 4 pole positions and 4 fastest laps in 16 races. Its drivers were Juan Pablo Montoya and Ralf Schumacher, who finished 3rd and 5th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a BMW V10 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 22.175, which is over a tenth of a second faster than the F2007. For the 5th fastest car, we go forward 7 years to the Red Bull Racing RB6, which won the Constructors' Championship in 2010 with 9 wins, 15 pole positions and 6 fastest laps in 19 races. Its drivers were Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber, who finished 1st and 3rd in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Renault V8 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 21.476, which is almost 7 tenths of a second faster than the FW25. The 4th fastest car is the McLaren MP425, which finished second in the Constructors' standings in 2010 with 5 wins, 1 pole position and 6 fastest laps in 19 races. This car has an innovation called the F-duct, which you can see in front of the cockpit, which channels air to the rear of the car and because of the change in pressure reduces drag and makes the car faster on the straights. The drivers were Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button, who finished 4th and 5th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Mercedes-Benz V8 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 21.350, which is over a tenth of a second faster than the RB6. The 3rd fastest car is the Ferrari F10, which finished 3rd in the Constructors' standings in 2010 with 5 wins, 2 pole positions and 5 fastest laps in 19 races. The drivers were Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa, who finished 2nd and 6th in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Ferrari V8 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 21.212, which is over a tenth of a second faster than the MP425. I'm not sure why this car is in front of the 2010 McLaren and Red Bull. I was expecting either the Red Bull as a champion or the McLaren with the F-duct to be faster, but that is the result. The 2nd fastest car is the Brawn GP BGP001, which won the Constructors' Championship on its debut and only year in 2009, with 8 wins, 5 pole positions and 4 fastest laps in 17 races. The car used a double diffuser which gave its initial success, which created more downforce. Its drivers were Jenson Button and Rubens Barrichello, who finished 1st and 3rd in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Mercedes-Benz V8 engine with a 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 21.211, which is 1/1000th of a second faster than the F10. And now for the fastest classic car on F1 2020, which is the Ferrari F2004, which won the Constructors' Championship in 2004 with 15 wins, 12 pole positions and 14 fastest laps in 20 races. This car is so fast because of the acceleration out of the corners and the amount of grip it seems to have while being on par with the fastest classic cars on straight line speed. Its drivers were Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello, who finished 1st and 2nd in the drivers' standings respectively. It has a Ferrari V10 engine with 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox. The average lap time was a 1 minute 21.019, which is almost 2 tenths of a second faster than the BGP001. So that is going to end off today's video on the fastest classic cars on F1 2020. I hope you found this video useful. As I said, some people struggle with choosing classic F1 cars, especially in online races. It takes me a while to make videos like this, especially with 20 cars, so please go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more sim racing content and comment down below any feedback or suggestions for future videos. I won't be making a Formula 2 video as the cars are identical, so it's a bit pointless, but watch out for more videos on other games. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.